Today on Dr. Phil.
Everyone where I live does drugs. Pretty much all of Orange County.
Dr. Phil has one of the toughest challenges
The drugs are getting harsher.
Did you get high today?
Yeah,
he's ever faced.
You can't stop this on your own.
I think I can.
Then why haven't you? And I don't think you can quit if you want to. The only chance that you won't be doing drugs this time next year is if you're dead.
And former addict Brandon returns to help Carly get clean.
You've overdosed and somebody had to bring you back to life, and you still don't understand how serious this is. I'm begging you to accept this help.
Are you prepared to do what it takes?
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I know things are tough out there, but we can do this. If it matters to you, that's what I want to talk about.
10 seconds to air.
Well, thank you. This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Ready, camera 5.
3, take track.
Go, Dr. Phil. Let's do it. Well, you're going to really find today's show interesting and I think a bit nostalgic as well. Today, we have a very special young man returning to this stage. He is one of the most asked about guests of the Dr. Phil show, someone that I feel a great closeness to. Everywhere I go, people want to know how he's doing. His parents came to me over 6 years ago because their lives were spinning out of control and they feared that their son was going to die. Now, you maybe remember this story. Take a look at what's been going on with Brandon.
You don't see me as a normal 21-year-old kid. You see me as a kid that needs a lot of help.
He was a great kid, and then the drug use started.
Every morning when I go up, I'm always afraid that I'm gonna find him dead.
I believe that we are here today fighting to save Brandon's life.
You admitted to me that you've tried almost every drug except for LSD and heroin.
I just can't imagine the phone call telling me that you've been killed.
So is this show about me? Did you lie to me to get me here? Answer my question.
You are the biggest liar in the group. You lie to your father, you lie to your mother, you lie to everybody involved. That's the pot calling the kettle black, my friend. They have gone to great measures to get you professional help with an inpatient treatment facility. You're facing a revocation of probation and going to jail. That's the alternative.
Well, I guess I have no choice then, don't I, Dr. Phil?
Brandon, I want you in this treatment
Don't
program.
talk to me.
Brandon, I know you want
Don't
help.
talk to me. Am I done? Can I go now?
He has agreed to head directly from here to the treatment facility where he'll be for the next 30 days. Well, when he walked off of here, his life hung in the balance. He walked down this runway with a big choice to make. Now he's going to walk back up it today. Let's welcome Brandon. So tell me what's gone on since I saw you last.
I had a little episode where I relapsed, planned on having a beer or two, and that led to more.
Do you think you get it?
Yes, I do.
Do you really? I think you don't even almost get it. I've stood at the graveside of you before. I've spoken at your funeral. I've comforted your parents. I've done it all. I absolutely don't want to do it again.
I'm gonna go back to school sober, not on drugs for the first time since I was a sophomore in high school.
Brandon has relapsed. He's using drugs again. Brandon was on probation for possession of marijuana that occurred 3 years ago. Brandon went to take his weekly urine test. He proved positive and he was arrested. Brandon called me and he told me that he was in handcuffs, shackles, and that he was going to jail. After I saw the court documents, I realized he had tested positive for heroin 10 times. Having Brandon in jail is a mother's worst nightmare. It's really hard.
to talk through the glass.
I love you.
Why do you suppose I'm here to talk to you?
Talk some sense into me. You know, I messed up my way. You were right when you said I didn't get it. Don't know how my life got to this. It's just, I hate it, and I know I don't belong here.
Why do you not belong here?
I'm not a violent criminal.
You belong here because you broke the law. And you can say, well, it's what I'm doing to myself. Is that your thinking?
That's my thinking, a lot of people's thinking. A lot of people think the same way I do.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are full of crap because you operate a motor vehicle. You're a danger.
Yes, sir.
If there was somebody downtown in the town square with a shotgun just shooting at people and he hadn't hit anybody yet, would you just say, hey, now, come on, don't do that anymore, okay? The difference is if people saw somebody with a shotgun, they would dive for cover. They see you coming in a car, they don't dive for cover because they don't know you're fried until you hit them. You're more dangerous than the guy with the shotgun on the town square. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
That's the reason that you're in jail. You are a risk to society. Tell me about black tar heroin.
It's bad, bad stuff. I let somebody shoot me up and tried it and I loved it. And I couldn't quit. Every time I tried to stop, I got so sick, it was ridiculous.
Do I think you're a failure? No, I don't. Do I think you're a loser? No, I don't. Do I think that you are destined to be a druggie the rest of your life? No, I don't. I tell you what I believe in. I believe in you. And I've said the chance that you weren't going to go down into drug addiction again, I saw as basically zero. Because I heard your thinking process. And you know, I told you when we sat down after you relapsed, I said, you don't even almost get it yet.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think you may get it now.
No, I don't.
You can do this. We can do this. I ain't through with you.
I hope not.
But what I gotta tell you is don't lie to me. Don't lie to me.
100% honest from now on.
The most powerful tool you can have is to walk the talk.
Yeah, exactly.
It's time.
I'm ready.
All right, Brandon.
Thank you for coming down.
Well, Brandon is here, and he's going to take yet another walk down this runway, but this time he is 4 years sober. Let's welcome Brandon.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. You look good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Have a seat. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah?
I couldn't be better. Getting off of all the stuff I was on, getting my brain and my body back to healthy I didn't think I would ever be to this point again. All I needed was somebody like you that did not, and my parents that did not give up on me, that told me that I'm not meant to be this way, not meant to live this life. And it took a couple valuable lessons, like going to jail and learning what that lifestyle will lead me to finally wake me up.
As you stood backstage watching this kind of historical recount of the first time you sat right here, what's your reaction to watching all that?
Looking back on all the years and everything I've been through, especially that first tape of me pounding the table and yelling at the one woman who's done more for me than anybody, and the person that brought me into this world, it just shows you that that's what drugs do to you. Drugs cloud your mind and your body so much, especially drugs like heroin, that you can't think straight and you cannot control your anger. It takes over your brain.
What do you think about all of this, Mom?
I'm just stunned. Watching all that tape just kind of takes you back through that roller coaster ride of recovery. But now I'm just awe-inspired by this man. And I'm so honored to be his mother and to be a part of his life and to work with him.
So, Doug, why didn't y'all give up? I mean, you got to a point where you were ready to let him fall as far as he was going to fall, but yet neither you or Debbie ever gave up on him.
He's my son. You never stop loving a family member. We were his lifeline, and I think it'd be an understatement to say that I wasn't a bit pessimistic about the whole thing. And
you were, but you were honest about it. I mean, you put it out there for everybody to react to.
Yeah, yeah. And I've got to admit, last couple of years have just, as a father, this is what you hope for.
Now, are you paying this forward?
Yes, I am.
What are you doing?
Well, since I got out of jail, my mother went back to school, got her licensed chemical dependency counselor license, her LCDC. She went and did an internship inside a prison for a period of time, and we, as a family, started a intervention business together. And for the past 2 years, we've been doing interventions all across the country. Thank you.
This is a very balanced approach, because you can come in from a parent perspective, even from an addict perspective, and it kind of covers the waterfront with families that are just kind of lost and in the maze. How does it feel when you see somebody kind of clutched from the jaws of death and given a chance on the highway to recovery?
It gives me a high like I've never experienced before. I didn't know that I could feel that good about helping somebody else. Seeing them be so relieved that we're getting their loved one into treatment and potentially saving their life is an experience I just can't describe.
There's a young girl backstage, and she is where Brandon was when I first met him. Now, like Debbie, her mother wrote to me desperate to save her child. Now, her name is Carly. As I said, she's backstage right now. I have every reason to believe that she has gotten high already today. She says everybody in Orange County does drugs, so it's just not that big a deal. So I'm sure all of you in Orange County are pleased to hear that. We know better. We're going to talk about their story when we come back.
Carly used to tell me that she loved doing drugs, and she didn't understand why everybody doesn't do drugs, because they make you feel so good. She has no fears. I can't believe this is my life. It's horrible. I take one day at a time. I feel hopeless. I'm frustrated. Sometimes she's fine, and the next day she's back using again, and it's a nightmare.
We're talking about drug addiction today, and in particular, how you can actually fight back against this terrible and dread disease. Now, Brandon is living proof, as he is now 4 years into his sobriety. Now, my next family story will be all too familiar for Brandon, Debbie, and Doug, as they are exactly where Brandon's family was 6 years ago. Take a look.
My 20-year-old daughter, Carly, is addicted to drugs. In August of this year, she overdosed on heroin. She almost died. That was the worst day of my life. The day after she overdosed, she said, "I'm just going to check out on life because I think you and Travis would be better off without me." She started off taking Adderall in middle school, and then she started doing Xanax, smoking marijuana, speed, meth, but her biggest ones have been heroin and Oxycontin.
Sometimes I feel like it's my fault. I'm Carly's biological mother.
Carly used to tell me that she loved doing drugs, and she didn't understand why everybody doesn't do drugs, because they make you feel so good.
She feels comfort through drugs.
She has no fears. I feel hopeless. I'm frustrated. Sometimes she's fine, and the next day she's back using again, and it's a nightmare.
She's putting my mom through a lot of pain. I don't like seeing my mom cry.
I just want her to get help, and I don't know how to help her anymore.
Okay. Now, she is the daughter that you adopted at 3 days old?
Correct.
And raised?
Yes.
And you are her biological mother?
Yes.
And she has known you since 6th grade?
10 years old.
Yeah, about 10 years old. Are you prepared to do what it takes?
Yes. I'll do whatever it takes to save her life.
even if it's the difficult decision that Doug and Debbie had to make of leaving Brandon sitting in jail for 6 months.
Absolutely.
That's where we are right now. You understand that the withdrawal alone could kill her.
I didn't know that.
The withdrawal symptoms from coming off of Oxy are as bad or worse than heroin. And if it interacts with some other compromise that she might have, she's already had seizures, she could die. She needs medical supervision to do this. This isn't just something that she just kind of guts up and does. And you got to be prepared to break all contact with her. You're either going to get help or you're gone. And you've got to have a firm right now plan. Either way, either put her on the street, put her in treatment, whatever is there. I'm going to offer you that plan right here. This gentleman right here is from La Hacienda in Texas. It's as good as they get. He's here. That's your plan. We're going to meet Carly. Now, she just about 24 hours ago was detoxing from Oxycontin. Is she high now?
Yes.
So you believe that she has taken drugs this morning?
She smoked Oxy this morning.
She smoked Oxy at the hotel?
Yep.
How do you know?
Because I got it for her to get her here.
But before you have such a reaction, I get that. This is a drug you can't just go off of without medical supervision.
She told me she could not come to the show unless she got high, and I couldn't get her out of bed, so I had to do it to get her here, and I feel like a horrible mother, but I had to do that.
You do whatever it takes. You've got her here. Now, she is in this drug haze. She understood that she was coming here to talk about her adoption issues. I told the producer, Julia, you need to tell her that I know about the drugs and I am going to bring it up and we are going to talk about it. So she has been told that. I don't know what she thinks is going to happen when she gets out here, but she's not going to like it. Brandon?
I didn't like it too much. I mean...
She's not going to like it, but here's the point. I don't care whether she does or whether she doesn't, because I don't care whether she likes me or not. What I care is whether she lives or not.
So do I.
I want to give her that chance. So I'm not running a popularity contest here, which you're going to understand what that means very shortly. We'll be right back.
When I do drugs, it makes it so that I don't feel pain and I don't have to deal with anything else that's going on in my life. I don't feel like it's a problem. I feel it's just something I do.
We're here today talking about a 20-year-old girl named Carly. Now, listen, Carly's in trouble, in my opinion, in her adoptive mother's opinion, her biological mother's opinion. Now, she's been backstage. She's not heard any of this conversation for a reason. Main reason being she'd probably run out the door. We're going to bring her out of seclusion, and we're going to bring her on the stage. This is what she had to say yesterday about her drug abuse.
I know drugs and using them runs in my family, and that pretty much everyone in my family does drugs or has. And it just, I don't know, it's weird because I feel like everyone around me and everyone where I live does them. So it's not really that big of a deal. When I do drugs, it makes it so that I don't feel pain and I don't have to deal with anything else that's going on in my life. It's very common, especially in Newport. Oxycontin is very big. Pretty much all of Orange County, I would say. I don't feel like it's a problem. I feel it's just something I do. I mean, I've gone to meetings and I've done all of that, and at this point it's not anything that I need to worry about.
Well, Carly, we've been talking about a lot of things today, including you. Why did you want to be here today?
I wanted to talk about my story, and I know that my story is probably a lot different than other people's that are adopted.
Is that the most important thing you have to talk to me about?
I don't know what you mean.
Yes, you do. You know exactly what I mean. I'm curious because you've talked to Julie and her team about this, and you asked them if I was going to talk to you about your drugs. Mm-hmm. And there is no question that you have, I think, very legitimate issues and questions about adoption. And not only about adoption, but about, for lack of a better word, just abandonment. And I think that's very involved in where you are right now. There's no question about that. And those are legitimate questions that you need to wrap your arms around. And I think they certainly contribute to what's going on with you. But I'm talking to these people, and they're coming to do a pre-shoot with you over the weekend, and they can't do the pre-shoots with you at scheduled times because you're either high or withdrawing from drugs. Do you really think that I'm going to know about that and sit here and talk to you about something that happened when you were 3 days old and in grade school and junior high when I know there's a life-threatening issue going on with you? Did you get high today?
Yeah.
What did you do today?
Oxycontin.
Did you smoke it? And where did you get it?
I brought it here from where I live, in Orange County.
Yeah. Were you in withdrawal on Saturday?
I'm in withdrawal whenever I don't do it. I don't know.
Were you sick?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you something. How do you think this is going to wind up over the next year or two? What do you think's ahead for you with your drugs in the next year or two?
I won't be doing drugs then.
How are you going to not do drugs?
I'm supposed to start detox when I leave here.
And you've been doing drugs since when?
Since I was 12.
Since you were 12, and you're how old now?
20.
You've been doing drugs for 8 years. And you've never been able to get clean and sober and stay that way.
I have for certain periods of time.
You're high as we speak.
I'm not high. I just feel normal.
Do you really think you're just going to stop doing this and everything's going to be okay?
I want to know. I mean, I think I need therapy and stuff like that.
Mom, what do you think?
I think she's not going to stop. She can't stop by herself, and therapy's not going to help. She uses, and then she's clean for a month, goes through detoxing, and then she starts using again. It's just a vicious cycle. It's not going to stop. It's been going on for years. She can't stop by herself.
What do you say?
I think I can.
Then why haven't you?
I haven't put in all the effort that I can do.
Why would you now?
Because I want to. I don't have anything left.
Well, I've got some hard questions for Carly when we come back. You know, I've been doing this for 33 years. Been at it longer than you're alive. I've seen you time and time and time again. And I'm going to tell you something, you can't stop this on your own. It is unsafe to detox on your own. It is unsafe to try and come off of this stuff like you did over the weekend when you didn't have the drugs. You run out of money, you could get in a lot of trouble. You've had seizures already, right? You OD'd already and had to be resuscitated, true?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
The detox isn't on my own. It's outpatient. And
Well, as I said, I've been doing this for 33 years. I'm going to give you my opinion, whether you want it or not. You can take it or not. I mean, it's totally up to you. But your chance of stopping this by going through some outpatient detox and doing therapy, living where you're living, doing what you're doing, is zero. The only chance that you won't be doing drugs this time next year is if you're dead. That is the only reason you wouldn't be doing drugs this time next year, if you do what you're talking about doing. And you can't just do something else. You do have a lot of issues. You have a lot of unresolved issues with you that create you pain from the inside out. I truly believe that, I do. But you never dealt with those issues. You started doing drugs when you were 12 years old instead. And when you started doing those drugs, your development arrested. It just stopped. At that point, it just quit. So you never did deal with those. You never did mature into them. You never did deal with the absence of a father. You never did deal with the adoption issues. You never did deal with things that keep haunting you from the inside out. That has to happen as well. You're quite right. You do have legitimate issues in that area. You really do. You have to deal with all of this at one time. But what you want to do is go home, right? You want to go home and be with your friends because that's your life. Do your friends do drugs?
Some of them.
Because you said everyone in the OC does drugs. I mean,
It's not Orange County, it's Costa Mesa and Newport.
Okay, well, I don't think everybody in Costa Mesa and Newport does drugs either. I think you do drugs. And I think you do them self-destructively, and I don't think you can quit if you want to. I'm going to tell Carly exactly what I think she needs to hear when we come back. Why won't you look at your mother?
Because I don't want to cry.
At least respect your mother enough to look her in the eye, Carly.
I know all of this. I don't. When I leave for work in the morning, Carly, I have to check to make sure that you're still breathing. I have to make you talk to me and say goodbye. I don't say goodbye to your brother. I know he's okay. But you know I have to come in and wake you up and say goodbye to you because I have to make sure that you're still alive. I don't want to live like that anymore.
Why do you think she's going to die?
The drugs are getting harsher. It's not getting any better over the years.
What do you have written down?
Carly, I found out you were using drugs after the school called me when you were a sophomore and they told me you were in PE class and you had a seizure. I had no idea you were doing drugs. They took you to the hospital by ambulance, and the doctors told me that you had Adderall and meth in your system. I had no idea you were using that. That was in 2005. You had 3 more seizures over the year after that. When you were 16 or 17, I had to go over to the apartment complex after I had kicked you out and rescue you because you were really high and you were about to go to a rave in LA. I put you into Chapman Rehab for 30 days when you were just 17. After that, in 2006, I got a phone call that you were arrested. They found out that you were using heroin and you had a needle on you. You were in juvenile hall for 30 days. I asked them to keep you there. They wanted you to come home, and I said, no, I do not want her to come home. The only way that you could come home was the judge told me if I got you into a program. So you wrote me letters that you were going to not use drugs anymore if I could put you into the Hope Institute Recovery Center, which I did, and you were fine for about 60 days. You came out and started using again. I paid for you to go into sober living, and I gave you a car to go find a job while you were living there. In August of this year, you stole checks from my checkbook, and you forged my name, and you cashed the checks, either to pay off a drug dealer or to buy drugs, I'm not sure. You were kicked out of sober living because you could not pay your rent. So you decided to shoot up heroin that day, and that's when you overdosed. They had to do CPR on you. When you came home, you told me that you were very depressed and that you just thought it'd be easier if you checked out alive. You thought it'd be easier for Travis and I. But that's not true. I said, what could I do to make you not feel that way? And you said that you owed a drug dealer $150 and that he threatened to hurt you and our family. And I told you I would pay for the drug dealer off if you promised to go to detox the next day and get medication, and you did. And you started going to meetings and you were happy. I remember you coming home telling me you're so happy. And that's when you were going to meetings every night. And then you started using again. Thanksgiving, I found foil in your bathroom trash. You were smoking Oxycontin then. You began detoxing on Thanksgiving Day, and then you started with your whole body, and it was Thanksgiving. And we had to worry about you being sick and going through all that. You told me recently that you take Xanax every day because it helps you detox. You've had 3 or 4 friends die in the last year from Oxycontin and or heroin. Saturday night, you were fine, and then about 12 o'clock, you told me that you had used that day and that you were detoxing, and you started feeling sick, and you woke me up and asked me to drive you to get drugs, and I wouldn't do it. And the next morning, we were supposed to come to Dr. Phil's show, and you couldn't get out of bed. You were very sick, and you told me you couldn't go unless you had some Oxy, so I gave you the money to go get it, and I feel horrible for that. I told you it was the last time I was ever going to do that. And then you've been getting high here because I wanted you to get here.
Tell her what you want.
I want you to get help and to be sober and to be the person that you can be and live a normal life. You know what feels good. You had it for a month here and there, and you liked it. I want you to be okay. I want to help save your life. I'm worried you're going to die. I can't live without you, Carly.
Pam, what do you want?
I want the same thing. I've been through this situation with your dad, with your brother, and with you. Man, I don't want to see it happen anymore. I want it over with. I want you to go to school and do what you want to do and get your life going. But you just keep going through this same cycle of detoxing, and that's what you keep telling me. You're detoxing. You just detox over and over again. You've got to go do something that's going to be over and done with, and let it clean you up.
Travis, what do you want to see?
I'd like to say that I love you a lot. I care about you. We're all here to get you help. We wouldn't be here right now if we didn't love you. And I just want all this to just stop and just become a better family and just drop it all.
Rachel?
I love you so much, and I just want you to get help.
What do you say to these people?
I don't know what to say.
Your plan will not work. You do what you're going to do, you are going to wind up dead or in jail. You can't do this on your own. You are up against it at this point, and you are either going to take yourself out of the game and get serious help, or your life is going to get a whole lot worse in a short period of time. And these people are done. What do you want?
I don't know.
Well, let me tell you what I'm offering. Look at me. You can't shut people out just by looking at the ground. This is your time. This is your chance. I will bring you a gilt-edged team of professionals to deal with your psychological issues, to deal with your medical issues, to deal with your addiction issues. Because what you're doing right now is you're living from 20 bucks to 20 bucks to 20 bucks to try to get to the next high. You're going through detox. It's like having the flu every 2 weeks. Come on. That's no way to live, Carly. You deserve better than that. You really do. You deserve better than that. I want better than that for you. Brandon has some things that he wants to share, and I'm going to let him do that right after the break. This man right here, this is Rich Whitman. I flew him here from Texas today. Rich Whitman is the director of what, in my opinion, is the premier treatment facility in the world, La Hacienda.
Texas?
Yes, it's in Texas, which by design is a long way away. Seriously, by design, it is a long way away. Rich, what do you want to say?
We're going to help you find another solution. Right now, OxyContin is your solution. We want you to find another one.
Sitting next to him is Brandon. Brandon sat in this chair. He's been through what you've been through. He's done it all. He's done the black tar heroin. I mean, he's done it all. He's been to rehab like you've been. Stuck a while, relapsed, stuck a while, relapsed. He's now 4 years clean and sober addict. He's just a boy version of you. A little further down the road. Brandon, what do you want to say?
I know you need this. I know where you're at. I know how you feel. I know that you feel like you're in a dark place, but you don't want to accept the help. You don't know what it feels like to be normal anymore. You have to take these drugs just to feel normal. And OxyContin's a very powerful opiate. It's the pharmaceutical grade of heroin. And it scares me that you've overdosed and somebody had to bring you back to life, and you still don't understand how serious this is. I overdosed once I started using heroin 3 times. Luckily, I came back every time. And I still didn't get it, just like you. I'm you, but a boy version of you, like Dr. Phil said. And you cannot do this on your own. I've tried. Like Dr. Phil said, I tried and relapsed and relapsed and relapsed, and I went to jail. I did 6 months in jail. And that's what's going to happen. Luckily, I didn't die. I got the other option, which was jail. But the only reason I had to go down that path and get that sick is because I did not accept the help that was offered when it was offered. I stormed off the stage with my middle finger in the air. And I respect you for sitting here, and I respect you for letting us all talk to you and try to get you this help. And I'm begging you to accept this help. I went to La Hacienda, and Rich and his team are phenomenal. And they will educate you on exactly what's going on with you, exactly what's going on with your mind, and why you're making these choices. And you do have a bright future ahead of you, I can tell.
What was it like to sit at your friend's funeral in August?
Hard.
Do you wish I had talked to him? Do you wish I'd have grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and said, "Wake up, buddy," like I did him? He was trying to die. That's your friend sitting right there that didn't die, that lived instead. Is your life worth it?
Yes.
Will you take the help?
Yes.
Tell your mother why you'll take the help.
Because I love you and I don't want you to feel pain anymore. I don't want you to have to worry about me. And I want to have a life. I don't want to just live my day-to-day life just looking for drugs because I can't function without them.
Rich, I'm going to ask you to take this family backstage and talk just a bit about what's going on. And
Thank you.
I want to see you back here on a happier day.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Brother, Bye-bye. Listen, we all want to be healthy, so log on to drphil.com right now for even more information on today's show and learn how to stay in the best shape of your life. I want to thank all of my guests for being here today. Brandon, I cannot tell you how great it is to see you and see you doing so well and paying it forward. I mean, seriously.
That's what.
I'm just so glad you got to be here. And Debbie and Doug, y'all just don't have any quit in you, do you?
No, there's no quit.
So I'm so glad that y'all are helping others with this, so God bless you for that. I really thank Carly and her family, Sue and Pam and Travis and Rachel, and a special thank to Rich Whitman and La Hacienda for getting Carly into their treatment center there. Listen, she's got a long way to go. I have no illusions, as you know from Brandon. This is a serious disease, and it's subject to relapse. It's resistant to treatment. This is a tough, tough disease, but you got to start somewhere, and I think we got a real foothold on things today. For information on the show, go to drphil.com, or you can reach me on my blog or Twitter even. I'm twittering around, or whatever they call it. Thanks for being here. So long.
Today on Dr. Phil.
Was this marriage in a meltdown?
They had definitely had issues.
A missing mom.
It's been over 2 months since a young mother, Susan Powell, vanished without a trace.
A search for answers.
Did you ask him, did you do something to her?
A parent's anguish.
My son-in-law is shut down. Josh is not helping find his wife.
And the questions.
Have you asked your grandchildren what they saw or knew?
That are on everyone's mind.
How have you kept from grabbing him by the shoulders and saying, tell me what you know about my daughter?
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I know things are tough out there, but we can do this. If it matters to you, that's what I want to talk about.
10 seconds to air.
Well, thank you. This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Ready, camera 5.
Take track.
Go, Dr. Phil. Let's do it. You know, there are times over the years that we get to use this show for really special, powerful, and important reasons, and today is one of those days. I want you to imagine that you have a precious child. You nurture her, you raise her, you dance at her wedding, and then one day, she goes missing. Now, you're shocked when many of the signs begin to point to the person that she married, the person that has their hands on your grandchildren. Now think about that. Are they in danger? Could the person you trusted your child with for the rest of her life actually be the one to take her life? Could this really happen? What would you do if you were in that situation? Would you confront them? Would you beg for answers? Well, the truth is, it happens more than we know. Remember when the world was captivated by the disappearance of Laci Peterson on Christmas Eve, 2002. At first, no one suspected her husband, Scott, was involved, but as the case unfolded with odd alibis and stories that just didn't add up, it turned out that not only did Scott Peterson kill Laci, but also their unborn child. Did her family miss the warning signs? Would you know what to look for? Drew Peterson, a former Chicago police sergeant, shocked us as he is now charged with the murder of his third wife and a suspect in the disappearance of his fourth. His children continue to live with him after his wife's disappearance. Should the families of his wives have fought for custody? If you were in that situation, would you do that? The question today is, are we on the trail of another case just like these? These are the questions that we're going to handle today. It's been over 2 months since a young mother, Susan Powell, vanished without a trace. Police found her keys, purse, and cell phone left at the home she shared with her husband Josh and 2 young sons. Now, this story, too, seems to be filled with odd alibis and stories that just don't quite add up. Take a look at what has unfolded since Susan disappeared.
Family and friends pray for the safe return of Susan Powell.
Her husband Josh said he last saw his wife on Sunday, December 6th. That's when he says he took his 2 little boys for a late-night camping trip on one of the coldest nights of the year. When he returned home, he said Susan was missing.
What time did you go camping, would you say?
I got out to a pretty late start.
9-ish, something like that?
No, it was later.
Where do you guys camp?
We went down south to some trails down there.
Joshua Powell said he went camping with his young boys on the Pony Express Trail. At this campsite, no Powell signature on the visitor register.
On Monday, neither Josh nor his wife show up to work, and Josh doesn't call his boss to say he won't be in.
Why didn't you call in sick or
You know, I didn't, I was somehow thinking that it was Sunday.
You got confused by on what day it was?
Yeah.
His timeline is unverified. Day 5 since the West Valley mom disappeared.
New details. Reports that when police went into the house looking for the couple, they found 2 electric fans running and pointing at a large wet spot on the carpet.
The search for Susan Powell enters its 2nd week.
Police feeling their own frustration right now because Josh Powell was a no-show for his 3rd interview yesterday.
It's been nearly 2 months since Susan Powell disappeared.
But her friends and family don't want the public to forget she is still out there somewhere.
Well, it just seems to defy common sense. I'll bet bells are going off in your mind just as they are mine. The question is, what would you do? What if you're the parents of this missing girl? Now, Josh, Susan's husband, is now the person of interest in this case. He's not talking to anyone, including police. Now, later in the show, you're going to actually hear from his sister. But joining us now are Susan's parents, Chuck and Judy Cox, as well as family friend Shelby. Now, I want you to take a look at some of what they have had to say about the disappearance of Susan and the odd behavior of her husband, Josh.
I know Josh and Susan had their arguments. It seemed like it was reasonably fair between the 2 of them. We never saw any hint of violence.
I knew they had their ups and downs. I asked her about, how are you and Josh doing? She'd say, well, Josh is Josh, and that just meant we're doing okay.
Josh called me. He just told me that Susan was missing. When I found that out, my concern was, where on earth could she be? What could have happened? I don't know if Josh knows where Susan is. I do know he was the last person to see her. And I don't believe that Susan would allow him to take him out camping in the middle of the night.
I don't think Josh as being capable of violence, but because he has been very quiet and not cooperating, it just makes me wonder why he's staying silent.
From all outside appearances, Josh has packed up and moved on with his life. That makes the Cox family feel like he knows something he's not sharing, because the rest of us are waiting for her to walk in the door.
When I ask him directly, do you know where Susan is? He says, no, I don't know where Susan is. And he kind of cuts off the conversation, changes the subject.
He will not speak anything about Susan, and I just find that strange and just upsetting.
The thing that bothers me most about this case is Josh's reluctance to help find Susan. He's not talking with the police, and he is not providing any more details. There's been nothing discovered to make us believe that Susan is dead. I can't let myself go there. I can't. So we hold out hope each day.
Okay, well, folks, I'm Very glad to meet you, but very sorry for the circumstance. Chuck, what do you have to say about this at the top? I mean, this must just be excruciating.
I guess the important thing right now is Josh is not helping find his wife. We don't know where she is. My son-in-law is shut down. If he's not talking, somebody else has to know somebody.
It's my understanding that he says he took these two children at the time 2 and 4, and they've since had birthdays, but at the time 2 and 4, took them camping at midnight in December. Because I've been doing some research on this, and on December 7th at 12:30 a.m., the temperature was near 20 degrees with rain and snow at the house. He loads a 2- and 4-year-old up and drives 2 hours in the night, part of it over country, snow-covered roads, to a campsite where they estimate that the temperature then was between 15 and 25 degrees with howling winds. Is he a prolific camper?
No, not at all.
They come back, when the police go to the house, there are 2 fans blowing on a spot on the rug to dry it. Do we know why the fan was blowing on the carpet? Do we know why he rented a car and drove hundreds of miles the day after he got back?
I believe the police had his van the day after he got back, so he got a rental car, but because they were looking through the van, but we don't know where he went or why he would do that.
Chuck, how have you kept from grabbing him by the shoulders and shaking him till his head rattled and said, "Tell me what you know about my daughter"?
Basically, right now, my daughter is gone, but we have 2 grandchildren, and...
Will he let you see the grandchildren?
Not at this time.
So you're blocked, you can't, can you go over to his house and see them?
We could go over to his father's house where he's living and possibly see them. The last time they were at our house was on January 3rd, in about 3 or 4 hours, and the children didn't want to leave, and I suspect, I don't know, then he had to, I don't know, that was the last time we saw him.
Well, I have some thoughts, some questions, and some advice. When we come back, we're going to hear from Josh's sister. Now, some believe her brother is guilty of Susan's disappearance. I mean, are y'all convinced that there's foul play here of some sort?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
You don't want to let your mind go to that he has killed her. I understand that. I even, it's painful for me to even say that, but you know that's a possibility. It's on the radar.
Oh, certainly.
And you know that you're convinced that there is foul play here, and you are very suspicious that he knows something about it or is involved in it.
We are absolutely convinced there's no way my daughter would allow her children out at that time in the morning without her with him. She would not have let him, if she was breath in her body, she would not let him out of the house with those kids at that time in the morning. I don't think any mother would.
All right, we'll be right back.
Kind of caught in the middle. My brother is a person of interest, but my sister-in-law, my good friend, is missing. The thing that has bothered me the most about Josh's behavior is that he has been uncooperative with the police in giving them any details. You're the husband. There's more that you can do, so get up and do it.
I've spent a lot of time crying, begging him to go and talk to the police, asking him, "Josh, please go tell the police everything. If you're innocent, you have nothing to worry about."
We're talking about a young mom who has vanished without a trace. On December 7th, both Susan Powell and her husband Josh failed to show up for work. When they did not drop off their 2- and 4-year-old children at daycare, the director contacted Josh's mother and sister, Jennifer. Now, here's what Jennifer and her husband, Kirk, say happened next.
One of the hardest things about this whole situation is that I'm kind of caught in the middle. My brother is a person of interest, but my sister-in-law, my good friend, is missing. On Monday, December 7th, we got a call from Josh and Susan's daycare provider. She'd said, I haven't heard from them, and I've gone over and knocked on the door and I've gotten no response. I was immediately concerned. So we tried to call both of them multiple times, but it just kept going straight to voicemail. Something was really wrong. My mom and I went to their house. We pounded on the door with no response. So at that point, we were very disturbed. It's very unusual. And so we decided that it was worthy of calling the police. When the police entered the house, the first thing that was noticed was the two big box fans pointing at the carpet. We were like, what the heck is up with the fans? Later on that evening, Josh actually called me, and he said he didn't know where Susan was.
The biggest change in Josh since Susan has disappeared is that going from a man I knew before who would talk for hours, he is now somebody that you can barely get another word out of him. That's just stunning. Surprising.
The thing that has bothered me the most about Josh's behavior is that he has been uncooperative with the police in giving them any details. He also has been very reluctant to participate in the media arena either. That's our biggest tool in helping to find Susan. You're the husband. There's more that you can do, so get up and do it. There's a lot of speculation out there about if my brother is involved, and I hope that he hasn't done something, but the truth is going to come out eventually.
Well, Jennifer, Kirk, thank you guys for joining us. We're all here for the same reason, right? We want to draw attention to this. We want to do anything we can to find out what's happened to Susan. And I know you're torn here. We're talking about your brother. I've got 3 sisters, and I can only imagine how I would feel if one of them was a person of interest. It's got to be tough for you, right?
Absolutely.
Did you ask him, did you do something to her?
Sure, I asked him.
And what did he say?
He wouldn't respond. He literally doesn't say anything about it. He won't say either way.
Out of everybody that's talked about this, you and I seem to look at this pretty similarly, Kirk. What do you think's going on here?
Josh is the kind of guy that does weird stuff. But to put all the facts into one bundle, midnight, 20 degrees, December, the kids, all that just doesn't make any sense.
Was this marriage in a meltdown?
They definitely had issues.
Did anybody ask these children, did you go camping?
It's my understanding the police did interview the children, and the oldest child did say that they went camping. So.
But he has no idea where.
No, and as I understand it, it was a very brief interview with Josh present, and that's all they got.
All right, up next, we went to the campground where Josh allegedly took his 2- and 4-year-old sons in the middle of the night, and you won't believe what happened on the way. We'll be right back.
It's bitter cold. I just passed a road that says Last Chance Lane. Doesn't instill confidence.
Modesto police are asking for help from the public in corroborating Scott Peterson's story that he went fishing in San Francisco Bay the day his wife Lacey vanished.
Lacey's family says they believe Scott lied to them and fear there may be even more lies. The overwhelming support that used to surround Scott Peterson. It now seems to be coming from a dwindling group. Only his immediate family is with him.
The bodies of a woman and baby that recently washed up in San Francisco Bay are those of Lacey Peterson and the child she was carrying.
The bodies were not far from where Scott Peterson says he went fishing the day Lacey disappeared.
Well, that was Scott Peterson telling his infamous fishing story alibi when he had actually murdered his wife. In the case of missing mom Susan Powell, her husband Josh has an odd alibi, clearly. He claims to have taken his 2-year-old sons camping after midnight in freezing temperatures to a campsite 2 hours outside of Salt Lake City. Well, we just wanted to see what that would be like. And it's similar time of year, still winter. We sent our field producer to the camp area. Take a look.
It's beautiful out here in the western desert of Utah, but quite desolate. The road has now become a dirt road. I just passed a road that says Last Chance Lane. Doesn't instill confidence. My rental car is stuck. I can't seem to get up this hill. And if I can't get up this hill with my car when there's been little snow, I'm not sure how any car, unless they had chains, would get up here. I'm probably within 5 miles of the campground that Josh said he took his 2 kids that night. If they left their house around 12:30, that means they'd be getting to this area around 2 a.m. Imagine right down in that area is where Josh and his 2 sons were allegedly camping on the night of December 6th. It's end of January, but I can imagine early December there was even more snow. It's bitter cold, and it doesn't look like there's many people camping here.
Well, our legal analyst Lisa Bloom is with us today, and this has some chilling messages in your mind, does it not, Lisa?
Sure, and let me speak plainly. I think that Josh's alibi is preposterous, it's outrageous, and it's an insult to our intelligence. Nobody can really believe that he would take 2 little children out camping in the middle of the night. But there may be a germ of truth in it, just as there was a germ of truth in Scott Peterson's story, because unfortunately, Lacey's remains were found in the bay where he said he had gone fishing. And I do believe that Josh Powell probably did take a long ride that night with the boys in the car. And unfortunately, that may have been where he disposed of his wife. But we really can't believe anything that he said. His story is so far beyond the pale. And his refusal to be part of the search, his refusal to cooperate, his clamming up, his moving out of state when people are still lurking in the state for his own wife, none of that adds up to anything good for Josh Powell.
We have to take a break right now. When we come back, a father whose daughter has been missing for 14 years. Now, he believes that her husband murdered her. Her body has never been found. He has some things being further down the road than Chuck and Judy. He has some things that he wants to share with them and why he says he's done it all wrong and thinks that they are about to make some of the same mistakes. We'll be right back.
Back in October of '96, my daughter Kimberly disappeared. Several weeks after her disappearance, my oldest granddaughter drew a very horrific picture of her mother in a hole, dead, and pink. I was certain of foul play then.
We're here today talking about the disappearance of Susan Powell. Now, don't let that just be a name. We're talking about a mother. We're talking about a daughter. We're talking about a sister here. We're talking about someone that has been taken away from 2 precious children. And I've been talking to these parents about how do you cope with the unknown? Do you accept the harsh reality? How do you handle the grandchildren? What would you do if you were in this situation? Now, my next guest has dealt with this firsthand, and he wants to talk to Susan's parents. His name is John Green, and his daughter disappeared nearly 14 years ago. She, too, had 2 small children, and he has no doubt that her husband murdered her in front of one of her daughters.
Back in October of '96, my son-in-law told me that my daughter Kimberly walked to the nearby gas station to get a pack of cigarettes and she disappeared.
Kimmy was my stepdaughter. We were really close. It was devastating just to be going through it. It was just horrible.
The day before Kimmy's disappearance, she told her immediate supervisor that her husband Mike had threatened her, and if she was so much as 10 minutes late to work, to call the police because she feared for her life. Several weeks after her disappearance, my oldest granddaughter drew a very horrific picture that went into the hands of social services of her mother in a hole, dead, and pink. I was certain of foul play then. Social services figured Mike to be a fit father, and the children left with him and vanished. In 2005, Mike Medina had been arrested. I learned that he had drowned his 16-month-old son. Mike is serving a 48-year sentence in prison. While they were looking for him, his live-in girlfriend, Becky, explained to the police department what had happened to Kimmy. Mike drove her to this area where he had dug a shallow grave, and Mike had a miniature bat and beat my daughter nearly to death and then put her in this hole. He laughed as he put the last shovel full of dirt over Kimmy's face while she was gasping for air. The saddest day of my life was when I heard that officer from the department got up on the stand and started talking about what he did to my daughter. I haven't seen my granddaughters for 3 years now. I would really love to talk to Nika about the picture she drew of her mother in a hole, but I don't want to get blamed for putting words in her mouth.
We were afraid that if we talked to them about it, it would hurt the investigation.
I'm really afraid of saying something wrong, and that blows something else in the lines of indicting Mike for murdering her mother. My wife and I were watching the news and saw what had happened to Susan Powell, and I could not believe the similarity of what happened with my daughter.
The most important thing for Chuck and Judy to not lose touch with their grandkids.
Don't let anybody convince you that you don't have rights, and don't be told you don't have rights. I spoke with my oldest granddaughter briefly on my cell phone, and I told her about going to the Dr.Phil show. And for a minute I heard something that I wanted to hear. She was happy. She wanted to talk to me. She wanted to see me, and I want to hear that again. I want to see her.
Well, John is joining us now. Did you make a mistake with your grandchildren?
Terrible mistake. You know, the authorities insist on you following their rules, and I did, and I swear to you, if there's anything you should never do, I don't care what they tell you, the bond cannot go away. Ever, 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 ever. Don't let anybody tell you you don't have the right. You do. You're the only bloodline on that side that exists that has that right. Remind them about their mother. Speak of her. Show them pictures. My granddaughters vanished for 7 years after social services said their father was a good man, even though he had a record 2 times, was arrested. But he was this wonderful person and vanished for 7 years in my life. Not a word, but don't let the grandkids ever, ever, ever out of your hearts, your sight. You've got to be there.
What do you think about what John's saying? He's been through this.
I think it strengthens my resolve to make sure that that doesn't happen. We will. We will be seeing him. We will be talking to him, no matter how it feels or what it takes.
You know, I think the thing that, and, you know, John's telling you from personal experience, you let them push you away from your grandchildren because you were afraid, as they are, that police are saying, you know, don't get in there. They'll use that to say you came in and told them this. You came in and programmed this. And so, but yet nothing ever came of it. It's just in the process, you lost out on those grandkids. When we come back, we're going to hear why John believes that Susan's boys may have witnessed what happened to her. We'll be right back.
Still no sign of a police officer's wife. Peterson's husband, Drew, says she left on her own.
Overnight, I went from being a watch commander to being a mother of 4. I gotta tell you, the mom job is much harder.
He's more of a friend than a dad, and other times more of a dad than a friend.
Does it defy logic that a mother of 4 could just walk away from her own children?
Yes, it does, very much so.
Do you think she will ever reappear?
Why would anybody want to come back to this hellstorm that's been created?
That clip was from an interview I did with Drew Peterson, who is charged with the murder of his 3rd wife and is a suspect in the disappearance of his 4th wife. Now, Chuck and Judy's daughter, Susan, has been missing now for over 2 months. John Green knows this scenario firsthand and has been living with his daughter's disappearance for nearly 14 years. Now, John believes his granddaughter actually saw her mother's murder. You say that because of the picture that she drew.
We were babysitting my granddaughters in the first 2 weeks of Kimmy's disappearance. And my oldest granddaughter was with my wife in the bedroom, and she looked over the back of the bed and looked at my wife and said, "Mommy's dead. Mommy is pink and in a hole." Obviously, that gathered a lot of excitement, the police, social services, everybody else. And it was just days after that when she drew this picture. She drew an actual picture of her mother in a hole. Kids know things. I don't know to this day if she still remembers drawing that picture. I've never asked her. I've never put myself in that position again, fearing messing up the investigation. Whether my granddaughter remembers it or not, it's something that's got to be instilled in her mind to some degree. I mean, she's 16 years old now. She's heard this story.
And you don't know what the police have learned from your grandchildren? You don't know what they
No, we don't.
And the police won't tell you that?
No, not the details.
Have you been raising all Billy hell with them and demanding that they pursue him?
Actually, the police are actively investigating, and I know that there's no need to raise anything with them because they're all over this case. I know that they're doing everything they can.
Have you asked your grandchildren what they saw or knew?
No, and that's I would like to.
Are you afraid of the answer?
I'm afraid of the answer, and I don't know, is that something you should ask a 5-year-old? How do you ask that without coercion, without tainting their views?
I can tell you that soon after I finished my training with my PhD and internship, I did a year's postdoctoral training in forensic psychology. And I can tell you that there are professionals that are well equipped and have the tools to do a careful and sensitive interview of your grandchildren, to minimize trauma, but to maximize whatever information may be there. Because if they don't know anything, then there's no trauma to be had. If they do, they're living with that inside them, and they need to talk about it. And Lisa, there are reasons that the police haven't moved on this yet, correct?
Because a good, skilled defense attorney at trial can say the grandparents coached these children into making statements. If they say one thing to the police and they elaborate on that in the conversations with the grandparents, the defense attorney is going to twist that all around. So you're absolutely right, a skilled forensic examiner, and I would also add videotaped. So there's never a dispute later about whether they were coached, whether they were misled in any way.
And then once the police actually make an arrest, it triggers a number of time-sensitive deadlines that could put them in a box when they actually need more time to gather more information. True?
That's right, and I think that's why the police have not yet arrested Josh. They probably have probable cause now, but they don't have proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and so they're waiting, and I can assure you they are following him. They are tracking his phone calls. They have a GPS on his car. They are watching everything that he does, hoping to find more evidence. They're probably also waiting for the snow to melt in the spring and hoping they might find some evidence at that point.
We have to take a break, but up next, we all remember the disappearance of Elizabeth Smart. which is a beacon of hope for everyone because she was found. Her father, Ed, is going to join us next and talks about how he behaved when he was under suspicion, and it was far different than how Josh is acting now. We'll be right back.
A family devastated, father distraught, now hoping his daughter can still hear him.
We love you. We want you to come home safely to us.
As the search widens for Elizabeth Smart, Salt Lake City is doing all it can to help find her. Police say a man broke into the house and walked into Elizabeth's bedroom. They say he took her while her parents were sleeping.
Relatives say she was taken at knife point.
Police found Elizabeth Wednesday at this intersection just 20 minutes south of her Salt Lake City home. She was disguised in a wig and veil and walking with Brian David Mitchell and his wife, Wanda Elaine Barzy.
Elizabeth is happy. She's well. And we are so happy to have her back in our arms.
Well, the miraculous return of Elizabeth Smart captured all of our hearts and gave us hope again. I mean, Elizabeth's father, Ed, knows exactly how Chuck and Judy feel, and he also knows what it's like to be a person of interest like Josh. Now, Ed is joining us now by Polycom video from Salt Lake City, Utah. Ed, thank you so much for joining us today. This is very important.
You bet. It's great to be.
Well, listen, you've been following this story, I know. I guess, and I want to hear what you have to say to these parents here in just a moment, but I'm curious to hear what you did when you were a very routine person of interest in a disappearance, as anyone close to the person would be. How did you behave in terms of cooperating with the police as compared to Josh's complete lack of cooperation with the police now?
All about finding Elizabeth, and it didn't matter what the police wanted. We wanted to do whatever it would take to find her because nothing was more important to us. That just doesn't seem to be the case with Josh. I mean, who would leave their wife missing Christmas time and just act like he didn't care?
Yeah, it just defies logic at this point. And interestingly enough, Josh has hired the same attorney that represented one of Elizabeth Smart's kidnappers, Wanda Barzy. So that connection is there as well.
Worked with Chuck a number of times, and you know, our prayers go out to him, and I know he's held out faith, hope that he is still out there. But it certainly is difficult with Josh really not participating at all.
Yeah, it's just, I can tell you from a psychological perspective, he is not behaving like an innocent person. He is just not behaving like an innocent person. Now, are there other reasons for that? I suppose there could be, but he certainly isn't. And I know that it's got to be a beacon of hope to y'all to know that these things do turn out well sometimes, and Elizabeth was found. You're involved in some very important work right now in terms of pushing and sponsoring some legislation. Can you give us just a kind of a 30-second capsule of that?
You bet. Surviving Parents Coalition has been working on a piece of legislation called DNA upon felony arrest. That means that when somebody is arrested, they'll take the DNA just like they take fingerprints, enter it into the database so that crimes can be resolved, that lives can be saved. And you know, there's a controversy over whether this is an infringement on privacy, but when it comes down to saving life and preventing other lives from being hurt, it's something that needs and has to happen.
Well, we're going to put a link on our website to more information about that, and we thank you for doing all of that work. Ed, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you, Dr. Phil.
We'll be right back. You can always stop by drphil.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There you'll discover more on today's show and learn life strategies. Shelby, if you would, tell us a little bit about the foundation.
Our family has started the Susan Cox Foundation. The world knows her as Susan Powell, but we've always known her as Susan Cox. So we'll be starting the Susan Cox Powell Foundation. It'll be an opportunity for us to provide some early education about domestic violence, the signs of it, so that our teenagers can use good choices when they're entering into long-term relationships. They can recognize the violent behavior. They can recognize the signs that come inevitably before we see an act of physical violence. It'll also be a forum for linking the different resources around our country. We'll be able to network different organizations like our foundation, like Ed's Foundation, Surviving Parents Coalition. There are resources out there that are so vast, but they don't talk to each other. So our goal will be to provide those.
Well, good. Well, listen, I told you at the top of the show, I thought this was a very important day. I want to thank everybody that's weighed in today. Chuck and Judy, our hearts are with you, obviously. You're in all of our prayers. Thank you, Shelby, for being here. Jennifer, I know you're in a tough spot here. Kirk, I appreciate your weighing in on all of this. And also thanks to John Green. I know it's easier not to think and talk about this, but I'm so glad that you came here and shared with them. And I hope you all consider what John has had to say and what I've had to say about this. And, you know, the best possible way to keep your sanity is to find something active to do. If you sit home waiting for the phone to ring, I can tell you it will make you crazy. It may seem insignificant, but you have to do what you can. Being here today, talking about this, keeping the bright light on, all of these things can accumulate to a good result at some point. Also, special thanks to legal analyst Lisa Bloom. Thanks for weighing in on this. I know you've seen so much of this. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Susan Powell, please contact police at 801-840-4000, 801-840-4000. And Josh, if you're watching this, listen, there are people that are dying inside right now. This is going to come to light. If you have information about this, please talk to this mother and father, talk to your sister. Do the right thing here. Your children are depending on it. Now, if you have any information regarding the disappearance of Kimberly Medina, please contact Senior Investigator Paul Goodman with the Attorney General's Office, 303-866-5331. Let me say it again, 303-866-5331. For more information about today's show and these cases, go to drphil.com, or you can reach me on my blog. You can send me a message on Twitter. If you know anything about this, we want to know it. Don't waste our time with prank calls, but if you know something, please share that information. Thanks for being here. So long.
His wife charged him with assault.
I spent 10 months in jail based on a false charge from Deborah.
When he got out,
The police put me in handcuffs and arrested me.
he got his revenge and then disappeared.
He apparently had gone to Alaska and was working on a crab boat. You get these emails saying he's drowned, and then 2 weeks later, you get a phone call saying,
I'm not dead.
It was all planned so that he would not have to appear in court.
Today on Dr. Phil, a dead husband returns.
You filed a false police report to get her arrested.
I did.
And a real mystery unfolds.
Did you fake your death?
No, I did not.
Were you in Alaska?
Yeah, absolutely, I was in Alaska.
So many questions.
How long did you work up there?
I was a few weeks.
How'd you get back?
I think I came back into Seattle.
So many twists.
Do you remember borrowing $160 from your boss?
I do.
How could you be in South Carolina depositing this man's check if you're getting killed up in Alaska?
The truth
You have emotionally devastated me.
and the lies
Tell me the truth. You were never in Alaska, right?
will all come out.
I am going to ask the questions till I get the answers because I think you deserve the truth.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I know things are tough out there, but we can do this. If it matters to you, that's what I want to talk about.
10 seconds to air.
Well, thank you. This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Ready, camera 5. 73, take track.
Go, Dr. Phil. Let's do it. Thank you very much. Is there that person in your life that you would really like to stick it to? Yeah, I know you say that. Well, if you're thinking about revenge, I really want you to watch this show. Because at the end, I'm going to ask you if you've changed your mind at all. Because the story you're going to see today is not for the faint of heart. Now, Deborah finally admitted to me on this stage that she did embellish the truth in an act of revenge. Take a look at this.
I spent 10 months in jail, 282 days for assault based on a charge from Deborah that I had pushed her. This was a totally false charge. There was no truth to it whatsoever.
What do you say about all of this?
Todd hurt me really badly in our marriage and our relationship, and he did a lot of extremely hurtful things.
Did you file a false police report to put this guy in jail?
No.
Yes, she did.
Did you or did you not misrepresent what happened to the police?
There was absolutely assault.
If there would have been physical signs of assault, I would have been taken into custody the night she said it happened. I never touched her with my hands, pushed her with my hands. I never threw her on the floor. I mean, that did not happen.
Show me what you're talking about. I'm standing in the door.
All I did
She's blocking you like this?
And I pushed through like this, and that's what I did. She infuriated me by what she did to me. Right now, I have thoughts of revenge against her, and I can't get rid of them. I think it would be a good idea if she spent 30 or 45 days in jail for what she did to me.
Did you make statements that weren't true?
I may have said that there was punching or hitting, and there was not that to my recollection.
You
but there was
maybe say it. You either said it or you didn't. You either said he hit me and punched me or you didn't. Did you say?
I did.
You did.
I did.
And did he hit you and punch you?
No.
So you made a conscious decision to embellish the story.
Yes.
Y'all have a toxic dynamic here. You have no business being married. You're going to hurt one another, or or something bad's going to happen here. Well, based on the comments you left on our message boards, and boy, did you leave a lot of them, you were completely outraged. Lana wrote, "Every time someone like Deborah lies, it discourages authorities out there from believing the true victims." Jill said, "This woman should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law." And Divine said, "I am appalled that Deborah has gotten away with lying about being abused. I can't believe she wasn't arrested on the stage." Todd spoke openly on the show about wanting to get revenge against Deborah. Well, guess what? He got his wish. Just a few days after the show, Deborah was arrested for criminal domestic violence of a high and aggravated nature.
Immediately following the show, my impression was that we were going to try to work things out. I don't know what happened. Everything just fell apart. He became verbally abusive. He becomes very aggressive. And he taunts and he wants to start an argument. He was taking my phone that he had been using and sort of putting it in my face and saying, well, why don't you call the police? Why don't you call the police? Then I just took it from him. I just wanted to be away from the situation. So I left. When I got back to the house, Todd asked me to give him back the cell phone. And I said, no, that's my phone. You know, I'm not giving it back. And he got very angry. And he said, if you don't return the phone, I have a felony warrant out for your arrest. I'll call the police and have them come pick you up. And I thought, okay, whatever. It's just, he's just talking. The door opens up and 4 police officers come rushing through my house, put me in handcuffs, very, very forceful. You're in denial. It's like this is not really happening, but it is. I spent one night in jail. They gave me an orange suit. They had shackles on my feet. My hands were in handcuffs. I had chains around my waist. And it was absolutely just the worst experience I've ever had to go through. The day of the court hearing, the thing that was disturbing to me was the fact that when he left the courtroom, he was whistling. I did believe that this was revenge, totally.
We got a copy of Deborah's arrest warrant, and it read the following. Defendant did cut victim on the arm with a knife, causing painful injury. Victim did require emergency medical treatment. The acts of the accused constitute criminal domestic violence of a high and aggravated nature. You've known me long enough to know I'm going to get to the bottom line.
Yes, I believe
right?
you will.
And I'm asking you now, let's just save a lot of time. Did you pull a knife on him?
I absolutely did not.
Not sorta, not kinda, not on a different day. You didn't pull a knife on him.
I never did.
You did not cut his arm.
I did not cut his arm.
Did you cut his arm with anything? Not a knife.
I did not attempt to touch him. I did not with my hand or a knife or a fork or a spoon or anything else.
Okay, let's fast forward to the chase scene here.
Okay, so what happened was he was trying to agitate me and get me aggravated and get into an argument, which is what he does when he's in that state.
Okay, and?
He was arguing with me to give me back what he calls his cell phone, which was really my phone that I was letting him borrow. And he said if I didn't give him the phone back, there was a felony warrant out for my arrest, that he was going to call the police and have them come pick me up. I attributed that to more of his lying babble, what he always does when he's drunk.
And he did.
And he left the house and came back, and the police came in and arrested me.
They put the cuffs on you, they take you down, put you in jail.
Yep.
Okay, then in a very strange twist of events, Deborah received this awful text about her husband. I am guessing you are his wife, but Todd died last night. This number was left via his note. He wants you to call his uncle. You didn't want him to be dead, right?
No, I didn't want him to be.
Okay. You didn't attack him. You didn't cut him.
No.
You guys are having trouble, but you didn't want to see him dead.
No.
You had to be very upset
I was very
to
upset.
learn of his death.
I was mortified.
Then Deborah received this email, which included a picture of Todd before he drowned. It said, I forgot to answer your question about how Todd died. He drowned. A crab pot knocked him overboard, and by the time he was brought back, he was gone. You have to know that at least 300 people a year die doing this. Now, it says, look at the picture. Todd was the second guy from the left. We have cameras on ship. I can't talk with you anymore. I'm illegal from Ireland and need the work. I liked your husband. He made me laugh. So is Todd dead? Well, I said there was a twist. Deborah then received this voicemail 2 weeks later.
Listen, I'm trying to catch up on everything. I have this idiot guy that apparently sent you guys messages that were not exactly correct. I'm not dead. You're disbelief. I'm incapacitated, but I'm not dead. Hope you're doing well. I don't know where you are. I don't have a clue what you're doing. Actually, I don't even care.
You get these emails saying he's been knocked overboard and drowned, and even a picture of him on board ship. And then 2 weeks later, you get a phone call from him saying he's not dead?
It's a miracle that I just didn't have a total meltdown or a heart attack or something. And I believe within my heart and my soul, and I still do to this day, that he crafted that entire scenario so that he would not, if this case ever went to court, that he would not have to appear in court.
So, Todd's not dead. He's alive, and he's here to explain himself about all of this when we come back. Why did you lie? Why did you add to the story?
Everyone has their breaking point, and you reach that wall.
Did you want him to spend 10 months in jail?
No, I never knew that it
Are you glad he did now that you know he did?
No.
Do you think he deserved it?
No.
Well, that was Deborah, who you may remember from our show about revenge. Now, her husband Todd spent nearly a year in jail, 282 days. And because of that, Todd said he wanted revenge against her. I said, no, you don't. Don't go there. Don't do this. You two need to get away from each other. He didn't listen, and he got his revenge. She was thrown in jail after the show.
4 days after we returned, there was a physical altercation. I pulled out the phone. I was going to call 911. She grabs the phone. I leave the home. I go up the street. Somehow I got scratched or cut or something like that. I didn't really notice it, and I flagged down this police officer, and once they saw the cut on my arm and the blood, they wanted to know where the address was. They took it from there. Boom, they were in there like cops, and it freaked me out. They had her down, they had the guns pulled and all kinds of crazy bananas things. I mean, it was unbelievable. It's not something you wish on anyone, and she deserved it to a degree, but not how they did it. When I saw her in the jail suit, in the cuffs and all that, for a brief moment, there was a little bit of satisfaction. It's kind of a karma thing. Kind of get what you deserve, but because she had assaulted me before. It's not like this was a one-time thing. The judge put Deborah and I under a no-contact order. This is where I sought revenge. I took the television, a DVD player, and all her goofy romantic comedy movies, and I pawned them. I wanted her to experience some loss, because she cost me my freedom. She took away all of my personal belongings. It did feel good. That felt good.
Well, in the last segment, Deborah said she got texts and emails saying that her husband, Todd, died. But he's not dead. He is alive, and he's here today, and I'm going to have Todd join us now. Todd, please, come on out. How you doing, man?
Fine, how are you, sir?
Okay, you wanted revenge, and you got it.
I did.
Did you do it by design?
Yes, I'd have to say I did.
You're here voluntarily, right? We didn't kidnap you and bring you here. And you want to be here.
I do.
And you know I ask hard questions.
I'm prepared.
I just want you to tell me the truth. I mean, I assume you came here prepared to tell me the truth because you know I'm going to ask.
Yes, sir.
Do you want this drama in your life? No. Do you?
No, sir.
Now, you have not seen him since the night you were arrested. How do you feel looking at him now?
I can't look at him. I don't want to look at him.
When you say you did do this by design, did you fabricate the story to the police?
I did.
Okay, but you filed a false police report to get her arrested. Right. Is that okay in South Carolina? Because I got to tell you, in Texas where I'm from and in California where we are, the police take a real dim view of getting jerked around with people filing false police reports, because when they're over there jacking with you, then somebody who really does need help is not being attended to.
What, she didn't attack me. I'll concur with what she said. She did not attack me with a knife or anything like that. We had an altercation over the telephone. All of my personal belongings were still in North Carolina.
How'd the blood get on you?
I had a scratch on my arm. I didn't even notice it. The police officer noticed the scratch. I mean, it was probably an inch and a half, 2 inches long.
Here's what this says. Defendant did cut victim on the arm with a knife, causing painful injury. So you told them that. You said, she pulled a knife on me and cut me, and you need to stormtroop the house, put her in shackles. When somebody is committed a violent act with a weapon, they're going to take it seriously because they don't want to get cut.
He's the one that really noticed it, because I was very angry, and I was walking down the street.
I don't care who noticed it. I care who reported it. When he said, you got a scratch on your arm, you said, well, she cut me with a knife.
Once he noticed it, I did. I told a lie.
Am I in the twilight zone?
That's what I feel like I've been in for the past 6 months.
Okay,
is in the
before you
twilight
get
zone.
too self-righteous and sanctimonious, you called him over at your house and told him that he hit, kicked, and punched you, and he spent 282 days in jail.
But he did physically assault me. There's a big difference here in the two situations, Dr. Phil. I did not make that up.
But you made up that he hit you and punched you and kicked you.
I was led by the police to embellish the story.
Okay, it's their fault. Okay, look, all right, come on. Now, and then you say she pulled a knife on you. Honestly, do y'all not have anything to do?
It was wrong, you know?
Was it fair that you spent the night in jail?
No, not based on a total fabricated lie that was intentional to hurt me and destroy my life. No.
Right. All right, well, then Todd sent this email. Bottom line, you are a nationally televised liar. You have zero credibility. You have no heart or soul. You will be 60 years old in 8 years. Your marketability is about over. Think about it.
Yeah. That's hurtful.
You're kind of all...
Oh, it's all over the board. I've told your staff that. I mean, my feelings were very conflicted and up in the air with her.
All right, well, Deborah received a photograph of Todd on the fishing boat before he was supposedly knocked overboard and drowned. We're going to hear about that when we come back. We're talking with Deborah and her husband, Todd, who were on a previous show about revenge. And on that show, I said that I thought that y'all were very nice people individually. You don't mix well, right? I mean, are you a nice person?
I'm a very nice person.
Do you have good friends?
Yes.
Are you a nice person?
Generally, I think I am.
Well, Deborah says that Todd plotted revenge against her the entire time he was in jail, got back at her by having her arrested for assault. Todd has now said, yes, I filed a false police report. Well, a few weeks later, Deborah was told Todd was dead.
After I moved out, I did do a brief stint with a company in Alaska. Worked on a processing boat. It's not glamorous. It's hard. You're talking about 16, 18-hour days.
I have no idea where Todd went after he moved out, but he called and told me that he had gotten a job with a commercial fishing operation in Alaska, working on one of the boats. I really didn't care. I didn't want him to be calling me. The 12th or 13th of December, I received a text message that said that he had passed away, and it gave the date and the time, and that my cell phone number was given to contact to send his belongings to. I replied and I said, I think that it is very cruel and unusual that a wife would be notified of her husband's death via a text message and not a phone call. Why am I not getting a call from an official somewhere? I became frustrated and thinking it's a never-ending saga with Todd, absolutely.
I was actually on the dock, and one of those big square pod things that kind of squashed me. Got hurt, was in the hospital 3 days.
I got clarity that Todd was not dead when he called me and told me he wasn't dead.
I said, Deborah, there's been a misunderstanding. You know, nothing happened to me. I got hurt, but everything's fine.
I just became completely and totally incensed. It was all planned.
Okay, now, I've watched Deadliest Catch a number of times. Out of all the jobs in the world, why do you want to work on a crab boat? That just seems like a terrible job to do.
Well, I actually wasn't on an actual boat. There was a gentleman there, and I'm funny about that. I wanted my contact information given in case anything happens. I left Deborah's, of course, you know, we're married, so I left her contact information, email, telephone number. I left
To
her,
JF?
To Josie, yes.
Yeah.
And
well, the initials were JF.
And I left, I think I left her mother's name and number. I left a former employer.
Okay. Well, he sent this picture. Can I have the picture up? He sent this picture, and he says, that's you, second from the left.
No, that's not me.
And this was in December. We actually found this picture. It was posted on a Ukrainian website in May of '09.
Yes. Yeah, I have no answer for that.
No, that was posted on a Ukrainian website in May of '09.
It's not funny.
This took place 7 months before he supposedly was this guy. Yeah. And you went up there November 26th, right?
Around the end of November. It was right around Thanksgiving. I think
it was November 26th. I mean, that's when you sent the last email to her saying, you know, it's either because I'm feeling nostalgic because of the holidays,
correct,
or that I'm leaving tonight.
I was up and down.
And that was on the 26th, and then you left and went to Dutch Harbor.
Correct.
And started this job. Now,
I wasn't there very long.
Did you fake your death?
No, I did not.
How long did you work up there? You were in the hospital 3 days.
Yeah, it was a few weeks. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't even complete it's usually about a 2.5 to 3 month stint. Yeah. I didn't even complete it. I came back to South Carolina.
But you got there on the 26th of November, and you were hurt on the 11th of December.
Just minor. I was in and out of the hospital. When
you told her you were incapacitated when you clarified that you weren't dead.
Yeah. When I found out what he had done, I couldn't get a hold of this guy again. It was basically just contact information.
How'd you get there?
Took a bus ticket, a bus to Seattle, and they flew me up there. It's about 800 miles north of Anchorage.
So how'd you get back?
I had a plane ticket.
So you flew back where?
I think I came back into Seattle, and then, of course, came back to South Carolina.
Well, you rode the bus? You told our producers you rode the bus.
Yes, I did, back from Seattle.
But you flew to Seattle and then rode the bus back?
No, took a bus trip out there. Then they have to fly you because there's no bus routes that go into up that far.
You took a bus ticket. You took a bus ride where?
To Seattle.
Were you in Alaska?
Yeah, absolutely. I was in Alaska. And there's a possibility I might go back.
You know, I'm just asking you to be honest here, because do you think he was in Alaska?
I have no idea. I've doubted. I mean, how can I think anything based on everything that's occurred?
Was Todd even in Alaska on a fishing boat? We're going to find out the answer to that when we come back. Do you remember borrowing $160 from your boss?
I do.
In 2 checks, one for $100 and one for $60?
I think so. It was like 100. I thought he wrote one for...
I got the checks here.
Okay.
He wrote one for 100 and he wrote one for 60.
Okay.
I also have the back of the check here that has your endorsement on it, and it says it was deposited in the bank on the 10th of December in South Carolina.
Okay.
Now, how can you sign this check? It's dated on the 8th, so you got it on the 8th. You deposited it on the 10th. I've got the bank stamp with your signature right here. Mm-hmm. How could you be in South Carolina depositing this man's check if you're getting killed up in Alaska?
I didn't fake it. I mean, misinformation was given.
There's no misinformation here.
No, there's no misinformation there.
Is this the check?
That's.
And he gave that to you on the 8th.
That is the check. Okay.
You deposited it here. The bank stamp is on the 10th. How could you be in? How could you be in Carolina on the 8th when he's giving you a check and you're depositing it on the 10th when you're doing 3 days in the hospital on the 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, there's no way around it, you know, and I came here.
So you weren't in Alaska?
Eventually, yes.
Come on, let's tell Let's just tell the truth.
I came here to tell the truth.
Well, then let's get to it. Because here's another check for $100, and it's deposited at the same time.
Yeah.
Here's a letter you wrote to a friend, and that's your writing right there. And this is the postmark in South Carolina on the 11th of December. You posted a letter out of South Carolina on the 11th of December. when you supposedly are getting crushed by a crab pot? You weren't in Alaska. Todd, come on.
She's right.
You were never in Alaska.
No, sir. She hit it right on the head. No, I was nervous about the charges and everything that was going on with her court case.
Okay, so you did fake your death.
I didn't want to go to that extreme. He kind of took that on his own, but...
You knew that he was writing her and telling her you were dead.
I didn't want her to know anywhere where I was, and it was extreme and totally irrational, and she's exactly right.
Because you understand, we got a picture here that was downloaded from the internet from a Ukrainian website posted in May of '09.
Yes, sir.
We've got letters from JF to her telling her that you got crushed by a crab pot, knocked overboard, and drowned. Then you say, actually, no, I wasn't drowned. I was just incapacitated. I spent 3 days in the hospital. You didn't spend 3 days in the hospital because we've talked to the hospital and you were never there. You can't work on a processing boat in a fishery up there without a license, and we've talked to the Alaska wildlife people. You never got a license. You couldn't work there. We've talked to your boss that said you worked for him in that entire time. We've talked to the woman you're renting a room from that says you never left. So all of this time this was going on, he was around the corner at somebody else's house sending you Ukrainian boat pictures reporting his death. Now, let me ask you something.
Shoot.
We started this interview with me saying, let's be honest.
Yes, you're right.
And you said, yes,
it's
sir.
Embarrassing,
You
Dr.
said,
Phil.
yes, sir, I came here to be honest. And I said, you know I'm going to get to the bottom.
Just embarrassing.
Because you know I do my homework.
I know
I've
you
given
do.
you a tenth of what I got. I knew you were never in Alaska. I knew you were never knocked off by a crab pot. I knew that all of this is a bunch of crap. And I asked you, I pleaded with you when you came out here. I said, tell me the truth.
That part's embarrassing, and that's hard to swallow and say. It's just totally embarrassing. And it's hard to sit out here in front of all these people and say you did something so totally irrational that now I can't even believe that I was a part of.
We have to take a break. Bottom line, will Todd admit whether or not he faked his own death? You've been to this show before.
Yes, sir.
And you heard me cross-examine her.
Yes, I did.
You know I am like a dog with a bone. I am going to ask the questions till I get the answers.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to do my homework because
Yes, sir.
I think you deserve the truth.
She does.
You wanted the truth, right? And my commitment was to get you the truth.
Thank you.
How do you feel about this?
I'm emotionally crippled and devastated. I'm just devastated.
But my question for you is, you've been here, you know me, and are you that arrogant that you think you're going to come out here and bull me?
No, absolutely not. Not at all.
Really? This is
embarrassed. Just embarrassed.
This is just for me. You walked down that runway right there and thought, that big old dumb boy.
No, I knew enough about, in the dialogue I had with your staff and the bullet points they were hitting, I figured that this was going to happen and come out. It was just embarrassing. I'm not trying to pull the wool over your eyes or anything. It's just embarrassing, and it's hard to come out and say it in front of all these people in America that I was a part of something that was out ridiculous and crazy.
Well, let's just go whole hog. You faked your death.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
part of it.
JF ran amok here.
No.
You faked your death.
I didn't want her to know where I was, absolutely. Yes, sir.
So you faked your death?
Yes. And I lied about the police report, and I've since called the district attorney's office and asked the charges be dropped.
Is there a JF, or is that just your screen name?
No, I don't have a screen name. There was somebody, there was a guy that actually sent these things. I didn't want it to be traced to anything to do with me.
You told him what to write?
I did. Yes, sir. And I wanted to hurt her. Instead of working with her to try to save our marriage and do things that we had agreed that we would do, I turned my back on her and tried to hurt her.
You destroyed it. Now you're living with a woman at the beach.
You wanted to
While we're still married, you're living with a woman at the beach. On top of it, it's not bad enough that I have to deal with all this other crap that you've fabricated and lied about. Now, on top of the emotional devastation, I have to deal with the fact that you're living with another woman while we're still married.
Deborah.
Where does it stop with you, Todd? Where does it stop? Where does it end with you?
I'm renting a room. She's an older lady.
Yeah,
We're not boyfriend,
Oh,
girlfriend.
yeah, and I'm supposed to believe this because why?
You don't have to believe it, but his staff clarified that.
I tell you what, we got this email from Todd's current roommate, Carol. I have a roommate who was recently on your show. He is still fixated with his wife. He told me today that he still loves her. He has hurt me financially by not paying his rent. I no longer feel that I can trust or believe anything he says to me. I don't know whether he has a romantic relationship with her or he's just renting a room. I don't know, but I do know she's on the phone. And we can ask her. Carol, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, Carol, have you been listening to all this?
I have.
What'd you want to say?
I'm very upset that I even let this man into my home after everything that I have found out about him. He's nothing but a habitual liar. He has owed me money from the day he came into my home. I felt sympathy for him. I allowed him to come into my home with no money.
Have you had a romantic relationship with this man?
No.
So this isn't a sexual...
This is strictly a roommate situation. Because of Todd not paying his bills and my landlord taking the last straw and saying, I can't keep believing your promises of when you're going to pay because Todd has not kept his promises.
Well, I'm so sorry that has happened to you. Is she telling the truth if you failed to pay her?
I've failed to pay her on time, absolutely.
Well,
I've switched jobs twice, and she's right. There were
4 times. He's had 4 jobs since he's been here.
No, I haven't. I've only had 3.
Well, Carol?
Jeremy, Monster, the one that you had for 2 days and the one that you have currently.
Absolutely. Confused and self-destructive and reckless behavior. Yes, I admit to that. And she experienced that. Like I said, I wasn't there for her. You know, I should have acted totally different. And these things, I'm glad they're coming out. You know, I don't know how many more you got in your stack, but...
Oh, my gosh. I got a deck here.
Yeah, well...
I have one here from your childhood friend, Marco. I have one here from a coworker. I have a childhood friend. I have people that... millions of people watch this show, and people have seen you and said, you know, I want you to know the truth about this man because he's victimized me along the way.
Yeah.
So how does Todd feel about revenge now? You said you wanted to hurt this woman. Look her in the eye. So just how rich is the reward?
Looking at her now is totally, it's devastating.
Well, you wanted revenge, and you got it.
That's not what I want.
You made her think you were dead and hurt her in that way. It starts a grieving process when you think somebody's dead. You wanted her locked up. They stormtrooped the house. They put her in shackles.
They did.
They put her in an orange jumpsuit. They put her in a cell with a bunk and a commode. They treated you like a criminal, right?
I can never take that back. But hurting her and seeing this anguish in her face and
You don't have any idea of my anguish.
I don't.
How dare you sit there and even remotely think that you know about my anguish and what I've been through for the last 6 months. I was kicked out of my house. I lost my job. I had to move in with my mother and sleep on the couch for 5 months because I had nowhere to go. I had to put everything I own in storage to the tune of $500 a month when I'm unemployed. I had to pay a lawyer $4,000 to represent me. And if it went to trial, it was going to be $15,000. My family doesn't have that kind of money. I don't have that kind of money. You don't even have an iota of what you have put me through. And how dare you sit there and be so braggadocious, oh, I'm so sorry for what I did. I will never be able to have a relationship again because of you. I will never be able to trust anybody again because of you. You have emotionally devastated me. You don't even have a clue.
I don't.
So don't sit there and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry.
Well, I am sorry,
Because,
Deborah.
no,
I
I don't
sorry.
accept that.
I don't
Not
expect
one
you
single
will.
bit.
I don't
Not
anticipate.
one single bit, and I never will.
I know you won't. I know you. You're not going to accept it.
And I know you. And now so does everybody else.
She's right.
Look, this is so outrageous. I have a hard time finding the words to express the dysfunction in this relationship. One of the things I said from the minute I ever stepped on the Oprah show 13 years ago, I had one commitment, and that was when I got through talking, I didn't think people ought to have to guess where I stand. And when you were here before, I said, shut it down, get out, move on. You are bad for one another. Do not do this. Do not play house. Do not drag it out. Do not try to get therapy and fix this. Move on, get out, go. Was I clear?
Yes.
But you decided, no, what's he know? I'm going to do what I want to do. And how did that work for you? Not well. What'd you want to say, and then we've got to go.
I just wanted to let her know before I walk off stage that I know she'll never forgive me. I know you're right. We have to move on. It's not going to be in the same direction. I came here so I could look her directly in the eyes and tell her that Deborah, I am truly sorry that I hurt you and that I drug you through all of this and that I didn't spend my time more productively in making a positive relationship and taking care of you like I promised to do in front of God's eyes, and I didn't. I totally let you down, and I'm truly sorry with all of my heart. Believe it or not, I do have one, that I did let you down. I don't want to hurt you. I only wish happiness and health and good things for you throughout your life. I know I'll never lay eyes on you again after I walk off this stage. But I always wish good things for you, and I'm sorry about everything.
We'll be right back. Well, I want to thank all the people who wrote into the show today to help us get to the truth. As I say, I got all these emails, and we solicited none of them. They just came, and I thank Carol for being on the phone and certainly wish her the best. Now that you've seen Todd and Deborah's story, do you still think revenge is a good idea? I mean, I asked you at the top, don't you've heard that, you know, don't get mad, get even, and you go, oh yeah, boy, yeah. It doesn't work, does it? I mean, you never know the ways that it's going to come back and bite you. So when you get into that tit for tat, it just never stops. Like, you get me, then I'll get you. Well, then I'll get you worse. That's how people wind up getting their lives destroyed, their careers destroyed. And if there are children involved and they get caught in the middle of that crossfire, don't do that. Don't go there. I hope this has been a good lesson about revenge. Now, I want you to go to drphil.com, and if you're stuck in a revenge battle and you want to tell us your story, you better come prepared to tell me the truth. Because we're going to talk about the truth. Thanks for being here. So long. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.
They're young.
She has chased you down the hall with a bat.
They're beautiful.
One of these girls' behavior is so bad.
They're wild.
She is under house arrest.
Sometimes I just have to leave because I can't take it.
They drink, they lie, take drugs, they sneak out, and they still get everything they want. How does that make sense?
Today on Dr. Phil.
Did you demand a car in exchange for coming on the show?
Daughters out of control.
I can start behaving a lot better if I want to.
I've heard it all a million times. It's crap.
Parents in over their heads.
Why do you give in?
I'm soft-hearted.
You have to say, I am taking control of this family, and we are not going to have this behavior.
What do you do
Did friends at a party have sex in your parents' bed?
with troubled teens?
Well, I opened the door and they were doing something.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I know things are tough out there, but we can do this. If it matters to you, that's what I want to talk about.
10 seconds to air.
Well, thank you. This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Ready, camera 5. 3, take track.
Go, Dr. Phil. Let's do it. Well, they are smoking, they are drinking, they are speeding, they are popping pills, they're disappearing all night, and they're disrespecting their parents all day. Not exactly the kind of behavior moms and dads want out of their teenage girls, right? Well, today you're going to meet a family that is the perfect example of the tail wagging the dog. We got two girls, 14-year-old Elena and 16-year-old Alexis, and they are calling the shots, and it seems that mom and dad are just rolling over. Now, one of these girls is so bad in her behavior that she is actually under house arrest. Now, the other, let's just say I'm not even sure she's going to show up today. Now, this is more common than you think. I want this show to be a huge wake-up call for Mom Kimberly and Dad David and every parent out there. Take a look, then we'll start talking.
The biggest problem we have in our family is our kids are out of control.
Elena, I did not hear you. Whoa, 1, 2, 3.
All of my family is disciplined.
When Kimberly was working and I was in charge of the kids, it didn't go well.
When I started working, the girls got into a pattern of doing whatever they wanted because Dad is very trusting and believes what they say. Can't trust what they say.
Elena, you're going to be mad if I put any of these on here.
Elena is my 14-year-old. She's been taking off, going to parties, getting in trouble, and just not listening to me. It's in my makeup bag.
You go get it.
I called Elena, and she was slurring her words. When I got home, Elena was passed out. The next day, she told me she took 2 Xanax. She said she was bored. Elena is under house arrest because she continues to take off despite what we say, and we can't control her.
I don't really care about getting caught.
My wife believes that the reason the girls are the way they are is because I can't make the punishment stick.
Alexis is my 16-year-old. Her trouble comes from traffic violations.
Speeding, rolling through stop signs, violation of curfew.
My husband David will take her car keys away, but Alexis always gets them back within a day or two. When Alexis gets in trouble, I cut her phone off. We'll take her computer, but her father always turns her phone back on.
My mom lets my sister get away with a lot more than me.
My sister Elena gets grounded a lot more. She does more stuff to get grounded.
They know how to work with me for the things that they want to get done, so I'm a victim of being manipulated by a bunch of little girls.
I have felt like I've disciplined the girls alone, but lately I feel like I just don't even try anymore because the discipline I put in place just gets taken away, and I just feel like giving up.
You guys have seen auctioneers, right, where they just talk real fast?
Yes.
That's how fast I feel like I need to talk today. Because I have so much that I want to say to you guys you can't even imagine. And so I want to jump right into it. Why do you want to be here today?
Because my girls are out of control, and I don't know what else to do.
So I'm a last resort. Well, at least I made the list. So do these girls have him wrapped around their little fingers?
Definitely.
I've been warned about this. I just had a granddaughter. I had 2 sons. I've never had... And everybody's telling me that they're wily and they're smooth and that they will. Look, you guys are going to feel in the next few minutes that you came here for me to throw you under the bus because you are doing some things that I just have to talk about, that you've got to change. But the good news is I'm going to tell you what to do instead of that. You've got to know what you're doing is not working, right?
Well, I've tried cutting their phones off, taking away the things that are important to them, their friends, but it just never sticks. So
what do you mean it never sticks?
It just never sticks because, sorry, honey, but he cuts their phone back on in 2 days, or I'll take their car keys and hide them, and he'll let them drive his car. And
okay, well, let me tell y'all two things that might surprise you. Is number one, I don't ask myself why your girls are doing this. Based on everything I know about the situation, I ask myself why not. Why wouldn't they? They're impulsive. They're young. They're teenage girls. Teenagers want what they want when they want it, and they want it now. Okay, so that's all. Their foresight is this far, right? They have no ability to predict the consequences of their actions. That's your job, because they can't see around corners, because they can't see that they're going to wind up dead, overdosed, or pregnant. You're not putting the brakes on for them. You're letting them manipulate you. You're not on the same wavelength as far as what you need to do, right? Because you'll impose something and then you cave. But you cave as well. I mean, your girls tell me that you try to act more like a friend than a mother, that you're the hip, cool mom.
I don't always want to be the bad guy all the time, because they say, you're so negative, you always criticize us, you don't like anything we do.
Well, they give you a lot to criticize. I said there were two things. One is that I don't ask myself why, I ask myself why not? Why would they not be doing this? And the other thing is, I didn't really care whether the girls came today or not. Parents grab their kid and they drag them to the therapy altar and drop them at the feet and say, there, fix them up for me. Let me know when you're done. We'll stop back and pick them up. You could have just sent them out here. You all stayed home, had a break. I could fix them, send them home, and we'd all be happy, right? Why do you suppose I don't care if they even come?
I think because it starts with us.
Yeah.
Probably me more than Kimberly.
Well, and look, clearly you are loving parents. Okay, it's not that you just don't care or that you have bad intentions. I get that. I really do. But this is not about those girls. Were they born this way?
No.
Elena, 8 tickets. 2 obstruction tickets for hiding from the cops, 2 unruly behavior tickets, 3 minor under the influence. She's 14. She's got 3 tickets for drinking.
She blames those on me, too. Yeah.
Maybe she should. One of you said you don't care if she goes to a kegger. Fess up.
I said she told me she was going to a bonfire, and I said it turns out they had a keg of beer there.
And that was a shock to you?
Yeah, a little bit. Not now it would.
How long you lived down south?
59 years.
So you're talking to a southern boy here. You ever been to a bonfire didn't have beer?
No.
You found her so drunk she could barely stand.
It was horrible, horrible. She had puke all in her hair. She couldn't even sit up. She couldn't speak. It was awful.
This is the baby. Alexis, who, by the way, she's still saying, I don't know if I want to come out onto the show today. And I had Kathleen go tell her, for me, that I didn't give a damn whether she did or she didn't. That we're going to talk about her. If she wants to be here, participate in it, that's fine. If she didn't, that's fine too. I think she'd want to participate in a discussion of her future, but if she doesn't, I could care less. So she decided she would come. Maybe she will. I mean, maybe she won't. I don't know. She has chased you down the hall with a bat?
When she was in 1st grade, yes, I was making her do her schoolwork, and she got really angry at me.
She dumped a milkshake on your head?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do when she dumped a milkshake on your head?
I had to breathe deep so I wouldn't hit her. But I didn't hit her.
She poured water on your cell phone.
Mm-hmm. This was in the same day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, delightful. You actually sometimes sleep in the car. You've slept in the car because you didn't want to go in and deal with the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So you're overwhelmed.
Yes, I'm very overwhelmed. I don't know what to do.
Let's talk about what we can agree about. Can we agree that something has to happen? They've taken drugs, right? Xanax?
Yes.
And drink?
Yes.
And they've mixed them?
I assume they have.
Because they were bored. Which one of these little dumplings was it that said she...
It was Elena.
It was Elena.
And you know, her sister took her to a Lil Wayne concert, and they were both on Xanax and stayed out all night. What did y'all do when that happened?
I didn't get any sleep. I was burning their cell phone up, calling all their friends, calling everybody I knew.
When you caught them?
I gave them a drug test.
And they failed it.
Mm-hmm.
And what'd you do?
They've done so much stuff, it just all runs together.
Doesn't even register. Okay, we got to take a break. David and Kimberly's daughters are backstage. One of them's been causing our producers huge headaches for days. And as for her parents, well, she asked them, she said, okay, I'm going to come, but you're going to have to buy me a car. Tell me you didn't buy the car.
No.
Yet.
No.
We'll be right back.
How you found this one?
Good. I'm still not going on there.
So you're not going to go on the show? Why don't you want to go on the show?
Because I don't want to.
Good morning, you guys.
Kathleen, it's Russell. Hey, listen, Alexis on the way over in the limousine was talking about that she didn't want to be on the show.
Your dad hates it when you smoke, you know.
I know, but I don't really care. Me and Alexis had a party a long time ago when my parents were out of town. Cops came to that party. The only trouble I got in was someone was smoking pot in the schoolroom, and someone threw up in my parents' room, and someone was on my parents' bed so the sheets were all messed up and stuff.
Charming. When we were at David and Kimberly's house, our cameras kept rolling as 14-year-old Elena lit up a cigarette on the porch. She revealed that she's thrown parties right under her parents' nose. Although she's still under house arrest, Elena was able to travel here with her parents today, along with her older sister, Alexis. Why do y'all think we're all here?
We're not good kids.
Are you a bully, Alexis?
No, not really.
Are you a manipulator?
Sometimes.
Did you demand a car in exchange for coming on the show?
No, they just said they're not getting me one unless I come on.
And you were trying to bribe her as well, right? Because you said to one of our producers, maybe if you could arrange a modeling shoot for her while she was there, then that would entice her to come. Really?
Well, I was trying to get her any way I could to come out here.
How do you feel about being here?
Well, I need help, so.
What help do you need?
To not be so rebellious and.
Do you drink?
Sometimes.
Do you do drugs?
Not that much.
That would be a yes?
Yeah.
And you smoke, and you're 14, but now you're under house arrest, and you've been in jail. And you said it was her fault.
The problem with my parents is they're mean, annoying, they're always in my business, and they don't discipline me and my sister the same. I called my mom a bitch. I got slapped for it. And like a week before that, my sister was like, "You're such a bitch" to my mom, and my mom didn't even take away her phone. They have a higher standard for me than her. My mom called the cops on me twice because I leave without her permission, but Alexis does it and she doesn't call the cops on her. You don't call the cops on your kids. I told her I was coming home. She still called her mommy. I walked down to my friend's house that was having a party. I was drinking liquor. I got locked up because I was under the influence, and no normal parent would do that because she doesn't need to put me in a bad situation like that. I wound up in juvenile detention center because I got arrested 2 weekends in a row, and I was already on probation because I got a possession of marijuana charge. When my mom came to visit me the first time, she just started bawling her eyes out, and I was like, you need to suck it up because it's your fault that I'm in here. Everyone I know parties. I'm the only person that gets caught, and it's because of my parents. Well, they could have just grounded me or something. I would want my parents to leave me and Alexis the hell alone and like not care like half of our friends' parents don't.
She showed up crying, but you said it was her fault that you were in jail. How was it her fault?
Because she called the cops on me.
If I rob a bank and somebody calls the cops and I wind up in jail, it's the fault of whoever called the cops.
No.
Me robbing the bank had nothing to do with it. This rude person called the cops on me, and so now I'm in jail. How dare they? Is that your logic? Let me know if I run a red light here. I'm trying to, which, well, you do that too, but you got your car sold because you had a lot of tickets, right?
Yeah.
You crashed the car in 2007. You've had a speeding ticket that you said was lost in the system, run a stop sign, curfew and rolling through a stop sign yet again.
Most of those got dropped. And the first one I didn't run. They had it on camera.
You still got them though, right?
Yeah.
It's probably just a conspiracy. You put an alarm system on the house, right?
Yes.
So if they left, you would know.
Well, actually, I caught her sneaking out twice, so I had an alarm system put in.
And what did y'all do?
Turned it off.
Do y'all have any respect whatsoever for your parents' right to tell you what you can do and what you can't do?
Yeah.
Well, looking at myself, I don't.
Which
She
one
likes
of them?
all my friends.
Which one
I
of them
feel
did you
like-
tell not to get a tattoo? And did you get a tattoo?
You didn't tell me not to.
Yes, I did.
And which
I
one
did.
did you tell not to get a lip ring,
A tongue ring, her.
a tongue ring, and
She got it anyway.
she got it anyway? So what am I missing here? Because I'm just trying to assess the situation. I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't really matter what they say to you, right?
I don't know. Things have gotten better.
On the stage here, or?
No, like, for the past few months, things have gotten better.
Really, that's why y'all felt the need to be here. All right, I got to take a break. We're going to find out why Mom blames Alexis for her younger sister's bad behavior. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Alexis has called her father names and yelled at him in front of the whole softball team.
Alexis always gets angry when she doesn't get her way.
She called a timeout, went over to her dad, started yelling at him. She got mad and threw her glove at him and told him he's an idiot and doesn't know how to coach.
The things that set Alexis off are not predictable. If she disagrees with something that somebody has told her she has to do or can't do, then she is quick to throw anger fits with her mom and her sister, sometimes me. I think that Elena's actions have been influenced by her older sister.
Elena is following in her sister's footsteps, but Elena is more out of control with it than her sister.
Well, Kimberly and David believe that their daughters Alexis and Elena are dangerously out of control, and what's making things worse is Alexis' anger and the way she bullies everyone in the family to get her own way. If they don't do what you want them to do, then you're just going to create so much havoc that they'll eventually cave. Is that your strategy?
I don't know.
I mean, well, come on, we're just being honest here. I mean, obviously I know the answer to the question or I wouldn't be asking.
No.
You manage by intimidation.
I guess so.
What?
I don't know.
Hey, listen, you're a big enough girl to make the decisions. Be a big enough girl to own them. Is your dad a pushover?
I guess.
He's a nice guy.
What do you think they say about you, Dad, when you're not around?
They say, you know, we can, and they tell Kimberly, they say, we can really talk him, given time, we can talk him into anything.
And why do you give in?
I'm soft-hearted. I'm easily swayed about it. If you have a sad story, I'll listen to it.
Let me characterize that for you as to how I think this really works. And you guys can listen to this. I don't mind. They're not going to like much of what happens from here on. I just tell you because we're going to talk about you a little bit like you're not even here. When a parent indulges a child, it's like they're saying, okay, I can do this right now because it makes me feel better. It takes the pressure off of me. So I'm going to give in here because doing so will make me feel better in the moment. I can be liked. I can be the good guy. I don't have to deal with their unhappiness. Because I believe that parents are as happy as their saddest child. I really do. I think that really affects us. And so when you give in, you're doing that for you. It is a totally selfish response. When you give in and allow them to do things that you know in the logical, rational light of day is not in their best interest, you're teaching them, okay, I told you something that was going to go on for 2 weeks, and now I'm teaching you that I am full of crap, that the world doesn't work that way. The world will tell you something, but they won't do it. Then you're giving them a bad message, aren't you? You're teaching them not to respect you, and you're teaching them a way the world doesn't work. Because when they go out and get a job or they go get in college, that teacher who isn't sad because they don't have their homework is going to give them an F. And they're going to be in shock because Daddy taught them that all you have to do is bat your eyes and whine a little bit and you'll get by. Are you capable of putting their interest ahead of your own?
Yeah, I think that's where we have to get, yes, sir.
Because that's what I'm saying that I don't think you've considered. When you do this, you're making them pay for your comfort. You're saying, I'm going to cripple you. I'm going to sabotage you so I feel better. Isn't that a selfish way to be?
It is.
You're not giving them something, you're taking something away. You're taking away the opportunity for them to grow up as self-sufficient young women who can self-police, self-control, set goals and attain them. You're taking all of those things away from them by allowing them to get what they want without earning it. They haven't showed themselves to be trustworthy. They haven't shown themselves to have integrity. They haven't shown themselves to be able to set and achieve a goal in a sustained sort of way, but you pay them off anyway. And that's not how the world works, right?
No, not at all.
And here's the deal. I think if kids perform at an A level, they should have an A lifestyle. But I think if they perform at a D level, they should have a D lifestyle. They do good work, they get good things. But if they don't do good work, they don't get good things. But that's not how it works at your house, is it? They have an A+ lifestyle with a D- behavioral set, right? They sneak out, they drink, they lie, they bully, and they still get everything they want. How does that make sense?
It doesn't.
What do y'all think about that?
I don't know.
You'll be a mother someday, and if you don't get this under control,
sooner than later.
Could be very, very soon. Did you fake a pregnancy?
No.
Did you test positive?
Yes.
It just went away? What do you think?
No comment.
What do you mean no comment? We're here to comment.
I mean, I don't want her to get mad at me. I
didn't do anything.
Really? We'll grab back.
I think it was the first time she'd ever drank. I got a phone call from her friend's mother saying that she found Elena. She was so drunk. When I went over there to pick her up, she couldn't even sit up. She was passed out. She wouldn't wake up. It just makes me cry because she scared me so much.
David and Kimberly say that they've just lost control of their teenage daughters, Elena and Alexis. We were just talking, and I asked you a question. I said, how did she test positive for pregnant and then just wasn't? And you said, well, I don't want to say because I don't want to make her mad.
Well, you don't have to live with her, I do. And it's very difficult to live with her when she's angry because I can't handle it. I just can't handle it. Sometimes I just have to leave because I can't take it.
So she's got you completely buffaloed. True?
No.
How did you test positive for pregnant and you weren't? Did you use somebody else's urine?
No, I don't even know any pregnant people.
How did she test positive, Elena?
I don't want her to be mad at me either.
I didn't do anything.
You don't want to be mad at you either?
No, whenever she gets, I don't like her being mad at me.
She used somebody else's urine, right?
I'm not. No comment.
Yeah, I think we all know how that happened. I'm a little flabbergasted here. Were you trying to stay hooked up with a boyfriend?
That didn't happen.
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
Okay, so where in the stage is this pouting? Are we going to see anger here in a few minutes?
No, we will after.
We will when we get home.
Okay.
Or back to the hotel.
All right, next, I've got a plan for Kimberly and David to consider. We'll be right back. What do y'all want to do here? I mean, it's very obvious to me that you have to have a completely different approach to what's going on here. It's what I call commando parenting. I think you are on the brink of a crisis. And I think you have to decide that you're either going to do your job as parents or you're not. You're in a power struggle here. And see, here's my philosophy with kids. I think you avoid confrontation every step of the way that you can. But if they decide that they want to do that differently, if you do have a confrontation, do not lose. Do not lose. And commando parenting, to me, means that you make a commitment to totally immersing yourself into the plan. And let me tell you how radical my thinking is about this, Dad. I mean, if that means you have to quit your job, if that means you have to sell your house and live in a tent, you do whatever you have to do to say, I am taking control of this family, and we are not going to have this behavior. You cannot leave her to deal with this because you want to be the nice guy. You're overwhelmed. She is overwhelmed here. She's saying, I got nothing. And the second thing you got to do is you gather the army. And if you guys are the team, then you need to fall back and say, look, we got a job here. It is our job to deliver them to adulthood safe and sound, hopefully educated and prepared for the next level. And we're not doing that. And if you have to, you strip their existence. I mean, see, we have an entitled generation here. They think they're entitled to cars, cell phones, designer clothes, hairdos, makeup. Your responsibility is to provide these children with shelter and food. That's it. And I have to tell you, if these were my daughters, when they got home today, there would be a twin bed in their bedroom, period. It's warm, it's dry, there's a bed. They would have clothes. They would not be designer clothes. They would be fundamental, cover your body, stay warm when it's cold and cool when it's hot clothes. You got to earn everything above that is a privilege. Everything above that is a privilege. It's not an entitlement. And you don't back down. You make clear what is forbidden behavior. And when they choose the behavior, you choose the consequences. If you girls were going home with me, I promise you, you could do drugs or drink one time. And then I would take you out of the game. If you don't have the wherewithal and the ability for them to function, then they need to be somewhere that is highly structured, somewhere that rolls them out of the bed at 6:30 in the morning, somebody that puts them in class until the work is done, somebody that does what has to be done. When they choose the behavior, they choose the consequences. You may say, oh, I just feel terrible. I've sent my girls to this highly structured school. But you know what? You're doing your job. You may not be popular, but you're doing your job. And that's what has to happen. And failure to enforce consequences, you'll sabotage their development. You put them in control. You put them in control. You say, you do this, you get that. You do this, you get that. You do this, you do that. That way it's up to them. It's not you deciding whether they have a television in the room or not. They decide that by their conduct. That's up to them. And you got to be prepared for war. If they run, get the police. I would rather have them safe in jail than at risk on the street. You have to be prepared to do what you have to do to get this under control. And you have to reward good behavior. I always told our boys, I said, look, you guys can earn more than you could ever cheat and steal. You can get more out of Robin and I by doing a great job than you're ever going to be able to sneak around and do. And this is the good news for y'all. You guys can have more than you could ever hope to manipulate or bully out of your parents, if you're just willing to do what you have to do. That's not going to include drinking and alcohol. That's against the law. Neither one of you are drinking age. Both of you drink. Neither one of you have prescriptions to be taking the medications you're taking. And they'll mix those and you will find them dead. Now, I don't care how much you want to feel liked. Your job is for them to not wake up dead from mixing drugs and alcohol because they don't know any better. Because they don't know any better. So I probably look like a crazy man to y'all, but I'm trying to give you a wake-up call. I'm trying to tell you what needs to happen here. So what y'all want to say?
No, you're right. You're right. That's exactly what needs to happen.
Most of the kids in the world today are lucky to be warm and dry. And these girls flaunt. They don't appreciate what you give them. It's obvious. They don't respect you. She's standing on your porch, smoking a cigarette, talking about her friends at a party, throwing up in your bed. Did these people have sex in your parents' bed?
Well, I opened the door and they were doing something, but I don't know if they were doing that or not.
Well, you told our producer on the porch they were having sex in the bed.
I'm pretty sure I opened the door and I saw something, but then I shut it again because...
Why would you allow people
I didn't allow
to even
it just
be
happened.
in our house like that?
It just happened because you allowed... Did you invite these people over?
Yes.
And you let them go in your house and you let them get in your parents'
I
bed?
didn't know they were up there.
We were at a church marriage retreat at the time.
Does that not just not enrage you?
It does.
But you're afraid you're going to hurt her feelings because she needs her cell phone. Because, Dad, I need it because we're doing homework and I have to call somebody who's in the study group. If I don't have my cell phone, then I can't call the study group, and I got to have it so I can do. I've heard it all a million times. It's crap. It's crap. It's time to say we're not going to do this anymore. These are delightful young women. They are intelligent. They're gorgeous girls. You know, power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. And you have given these girls a power that they are not mature enough to handle. You've got the tail wagging the dog. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to them. You have a crisis situation on your hands. This is something that calls for immediate and dramatic intervention. Are they up to it? And if they're not, what's the alternative? There are two possibilities. I'm going to tell you what they are when we come back. We've heard that no one in this family wants to upset Alexis. They don't want to talk about anything that might make her mad. In fact, Alexis wasn't going to come on the show. Then she was, then she was, and then she was, then she was, and then she was. I never thought that should have really been an option since she's not an adult. And I know we all grew up where my dad said, get over here and stand. I went vertical right there. I'm the best friend you've got in this room right now. I'm the best friends you got in this room right now. And I'm going to tell you why, because I'm trying to save you from yourself right now. You can't be happy being mad all the time.
We haven't even been fighting lately. We've been fine, like the past few months.
Yeah, that's why everybody's afraid to even say anything around you. These girls have to either say, okay, you know what? We are a family, and we have responsibility to be members of this family like everybody else. And we're going to participate and do what we need to do so everybody can have a peaceful, happy existence. My philosophy with my boys was always very simple. I said, you got two jobs. One is to get educated, and number two was to have a damn good time doing it. I said, you should be joyful. You should be happy. You should be having fun every day. If you're not having fun every day, you're not managing your lives very well. You know, have fun, but get yourself prepared. I will make resources available to you. You say you're about to wrap up the family counseling that you have now. I will make resources available to you to pursue that on an outpatient basis collectively. Let me again be very clear. You are obviously a very loving, well-intended parent here. But you owe it to these girls to turn this around. Give them a chance. They've gone down a bad road here. It's like they're lost in the woods. You've got to lead them out of this. I've said many times on this show, teenage brains aren't through growing yet. And their reasoning centers, their ability to predict the consequences of their actions is one of the last things that fill in the frontal portions of the brain. You have to see around corners. Give them a chance. And if you get attitude and you get a behavior that is not right, then you need to do what you have to do to turn this around. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
We'll be right back. We've been talking about family dynamics today, and look, there has to be a hierarchy in a family. Somebody has to be in charge. You cannot manage by committee. It doesn't mean that people can't earn a right to a bigger voice, but it is an earned right. And I trust that we have a plan here, right? All right, good. I appreciate you guys coming. Are you glad you came?
Yes, I am.
Why?
Because I think you gave us some good insight and the resources we need.
If you want to send me your comments on this show, you can email me at drphil.com. You can visit my blog at blog.drphil.com. And you can also reach me on Twitter. And yes, I know that I didn't ask the girls if they were glad they came. But I trust in the long run they will be. Thanks for being here. So long. See y'all. Bye-bye. See y'all. Bye-bye. See y'all. Thanks so much.